We, I see we do have a functionality to allow people to ask their questions by voice. So if you would like to do that, please use the raise your hand feature and then we can call on you. But right now we already have two very relevant questions that are in the Q&A. So I will just start to read out the first one just so everybody can hear it. The World Economic Forum predicts that around 75 million jobs will be displaced as AI and other technologies are deployed. How can we navigate this challenge in light of the fact that this process has now been accelerated by COVID-19?
Yeah, I'm happy to start if you want, Michelle.
You start.
So the 75 million is in aggregate. And I think here that's the key word. So AI, robotic automation is replacing tasks, right? Now, when you de-aggregate the jobs that we have into tasks, you see that pretty much 60%, 70% of those tasks can be fully automated. And that's where the parallel goes, okay, well then in aggregate, it means that, 75 million of jobs will be displaced. But that's not the case. It means that actually most jobs, so maybe 80, 90% of jobs will have a part of automation, but the ones that could be fully automated are only 10%. And they tend to be mostly in manufacturing or, in frontline operators. Some of those jobs will be completely displaced, no doubt about it. But others, and that's the challenge that we're facing, and that's what the exponentiality of it is critical, because others will have 20%, 25, 30% of the job that is not needed, but the 70% is still needed, right? And you still want to keep those people. So again, if you're stuck into the paradigm of having someone 1 or 0, then you have someone for 70% of the time. And so that's where internal talent management and internal mobility and democratizing this will unlock all these possibilities. And we're not too far from this. We're probably a few years away from already having RPA is not new. Robotic process automation has been around since the 90s. And you talk to anyone who's in accounting or finance, they're experiencing this at the moment. And what they see is people come in and say, well, we're going to get rid of probably 10% of jobs. And that is hardly the case. You get a lot of people that are more productive and have less time in the office, but often it doesn't take out a full job. So that's the big difference that I see.
Yeah, agree. And I would just add another point. I think the clients that we're talking to are actually welcoming the automation of those more, repeatable tasks so that their teams can actually work on higher value add, right? More creative activities, the activities that you simply can't automate with AI. And so, it seems like, some employees are concerned, but leaders are not as concerned because they can see the potential for their teams to actually deliver even greater outcomes for the business as they're freed up from those more manual tasks.
Well, actually, funny enough, a few days ago we were talking to a team because we're also doing some work on the impact of this technology on every job, and so we're deploying that with a large organization in New Zealand. And we were talking to the finance team, and most of those guys were saying, well, we are welcoming RPA because we are doing so many of those tasks that we don't have time, like some others, to do those interesting projects. So if that's possible for us, please bring the machines. We want them to take our tasks. And sometimes they're really painful tasks to do that a machine could do way faster than a human. So then we can free up some capacity for those people. And they're like, look, we want to help the organization and be more, the advisors of some parts of the business, as opposed to be on the receiving end of all the problems that people have in finance and all the other things. So I agree. It's not just leaders, it's also employees, and it's leaders' job to actually, paint the right picture about this and to capture the benefit what they really are. And sometimes they're way more than just getting rid of one FTE.
Correct.